Ahead of the second semi-final Carabao Cup visit of Chelsea to the Emirates, Mikel Arteta faced the press today and provided updates on a lot of things that had to do with Arsenal, ranging from Bukayo Saka's injury, Mikel Merino's injury, Ethan Nwaneri's first goal for Marseille, and the rest. So the press started as usual with asking him for injury updates. Um, they asked him if there are any new injury concerns from the game against Leeds United from the weekend. He said no, for now there is none that he's aware of. They proceeded to ask him about Saka's injury, and he said that Saka's injury will be monitored later in the day since they had another training session, and we'll see if he would be sitting out tomorrow's game against Chelsea or he would be available for it. Now, on if the injury to Saka was serious, he said it doesn't look like something serious, but that he will be assessed just before the game. On if Mikel Merino will be back in training before the end of the season, that's with regards to Mikel Merino's injury. Mikel Arteta answered, "We hope so." He doesn't know. He needs to go through a procedure, which is not always positive. He's a big player for us and all of that. So hopefully, Mikel Merino goes through the procedure successfully. They proceeded to ask him on if the injury is a fracture. Mikel Arteta simply answered yes. They asked him on the World Cup if the World Cup is still a target for Merino to meet up. Mikel Arteta answered simply, "Let's see, it's very rare injury, so we have to wait and see once the surgery has been completed." All right, so Mikel Merino, I know Mikel Arteta is always coy on a lot of issues, so let's hope this is a foot injury as he confirmed. They proceeded to ask him if it's a pain for him to lose Merino. He said, for the team as well, it's obvious because he's a big player for us. So Mikel Merino is an important part of the Arsenal team and is a big miss for Arsenal, answered Mikel Arteta. On if it changes our thinking before the transfer window, that is, if losing Mikel Merino changes the thinking of Arsenal and, of course, the hierarchy at Arsenal going into the last day of the transfer window, Mikel Arteta answered, of course, when you lose a big player like this in the squad with 4 months to go and all competitions to play for, you need to look and we need to do everything possibly can to see if if a player that fits is available. All right. On if we have to replace him with someone special, Arteta answered, at this level, especially for 4 months, you have to be a player who has the capacity to adapt immediately and impact the team, and that's not easy. So it's looking more likely that if they find a player that fits, he will replace him. If not, they will have to wait it out. On the depth of the squad that Arsenal have now, Mikel Arteta responded, we have more depth now, but for 7 months, it didn't feel like Arsenal had the depth since they were having so many injuries. On how pivotal the results were on the weekend, that's the result against Leeds, Mikel Arteta answered, we can only control what we can control. Last weekend we lost. Now everything looks different. We are very happy and how we competed and won the game. On Paul Mason saying that this was the weekend where we won the title, Mikel Arteta responded, we need another 13 or 14 of those games, and that will make it happen. We know how much there is still to do. We are very conscious of that. I think every club is conscious of that, and we just have to keep going. That was his response. On if we target doing a treble this season, well, Mikel Arteta responded, well, I think we go day by day, competition by competition, and tomorrow we have really tough game against a very good Chelsea side. All right? On if the players should believe a treble is possible, Mikel Arteta responded, there is no point talking about it. All we can talk and control is what we do daily to sustain the level that we have or improve it, I think, he responded. On if it's simple to handle the Merino news in the market today, Mikel Arteta's simple response was no. And he went further to explain that a lot of players like Ethan Nwaneri and all of that also left, and if we can find the right player, it's better. On if there is a temptation to disrupt the harmony among the squad with a new player, Mikel Arteta responded, if we do something, it's just to improve what we have and to be better. Certainly not with that purpose. So it's not with the purpose, of disrupting or thinking about the harmony of the squad. It's about getting a player that can improve the squad immediately. So we will consider the opportunity we have, whether we do it or not. On Chelsea conceding goals under Liam Ressigno, Mikel Arteta said every team has its own things. I think Liam is doing well and an incredible job at Chelsea in different competitions. So it's not really about whether they are conceding or not. It's about how every team adapts to every game. On if the Carabao Cup is the most important competition we are in at the moment, Mikel Arteta's simple response was yes, and he went further to explain that the next game is the most important game to every team or every manager. On if a magic moment are enough for Eze, if he needs to stay or impact game consistently, Mikel Arteta's answer was yes, you have to impact the game consistently and not just flashes and moments in different games. On if a central position suits him better, because they asked him if he thinks Eze's style of play is more suited to central position, and he responded that Playing him out wide in the previous games was as a result of missing several players. And now that the opportunity has arrived to be played for Eze to be played more centrally, because Arsenal now have cover in those wing positions, that is where he is best suited. On if a central position suits him better, Arteta responded for different reasons, to be fair, because we had certain injuries, like I've explained, and we utilized them we utilize him on the left, and we have injuries as well on the right. So he has been able to adapt to different positions. I think in the last few weeks he has consistent in one position and just trying to understand as well those relationships where he's more comfortable, where he can impact more the game in relation to the opponent and where we are. On where he sees on where he has seen signs of improvement with Gyökeres, he responded, yes, it is his all-round play. Defensively, Mikel Arteta responded, Gyökeres has done well all season, but now that he's adding more goals, I think 4 goals in his last 6 games, he's now improving in the attack as well, and it is benefiting the team. On scoring goals that aren't aesthetically pleasing, the press asked Mikel Arteta that Gyökeres is scoring goals that are not very aesthetically pleasing to the eye. Mikel Arteta responded, yes, I mean, he has the ability to do so and score goals. I know that we prefer beautiful ones on YouTube, but they are all very important. Of course, a goal is a goal. On if Miles Lewis-Kelly could play in midfield with Merino out, Mikel Arteta responded, yes, that he has the qualities that is suited to play in midfield. And he played at fullback because Arteta saw him as the best way for Miles Lewis-Kelly to break into the Arsenal team was playing him at left back, and so he played him at left back. On Nwaneri hitting ground running at Marseille, Mikel Arteta responded, yes, but we made a decision now that we would love to see him. That is what we would love to see from Ethan, because the press were asking him if Ethan is now needed in Arsenal now that Merino is out injured. But Arteta responded that they have made the decision, and they made it in mind with to give him the best opportunity to develop his career and to play more. On not including a clause in the loan to bring Ethan Nwaneri back, Mikel Arteta responded, well, to be fair, that's more something that Andre Beta and Sammy Helball, in this case, are more in charge of deciding and negotiating, because it's not only what we want, it's as well what the other club wants. On how he works with Andre Beta to recruit players on the deadline, well, Mikel Arteta responded, we start to look, but obviously Andre is in full charge of that, and I trust him fully. So Arteta is leaving that in the hands of Andre Beta and not having much to say. On if Mikel Arteta is relaxed about the situation, Arteta responded, I wouldn't say relaxed. I think we are on it, and it's our responsibility when we are playing for what we are playing to give ourselves the best opportunity and the chance to look at the market every point, evaluate them, then make a decision whether to do something and if it's possible. Or if he thinks about what happened at the end of last January, yes, I think very differently. I think it's a very different one as well, and I know what happened very, very well. I know the details of that, so that was totally different to this one. On how he stops the players feel that they are owed the league title, Mikel Arteta responded, yes, the reality that we face every single day, we are the ones who experience the difficulty and the challenge and the level of this league, and we want to accomplish so. It's obvious, not even a thought. He responded. On how he has become so concerned with supporters, Mikel Arteta responded, I don't know. It is something trust, to do with trust. I think every single day, the way you behave, the way you win, the way you don't win, and in the manner that you make decisions, in the manner that you are perceived inside the club, I don't know. I think these are factors. I'm very, very grateful for the way I get treated, the way I get respected, and for the response all the supporters give. So this was what Mikel Arteta has had to say about the game coming up against Chelsea, about his players and all that. My preview for that game will be dropping shortly. Stay tuned and let me know what you think about what Mikel Arteta has had to say about this game against Chelsea, and let's go.